आपादमौलिपर्यन्तां गुरूणामाकृतिं स्मरेत् येन विघ्नप्रणश्यन्ति सिद्धन्ति च मनोरथः लक्ष्मीतनोतु नितरामितरानपेक्षमङ्गृद्वयं निगमशाकिशिखाप्रवाहनं हैरम्बमम्बुरुहडम्बरचौर्यनिग्रं विघ्नाद्रिभेदशतधारधुरन्धरन् सर्वेषां स्वागतम्. So this is the Saṃskāra session, and for this particular session, since we have completed the karmas, it is very important. We have learned in the cycle of karmas that it leads to an identification. That is, the karma ichha leads to the faculties of karma. That means ones that can fulfill the karma ichha. And then when we do that karma, it leads to association, identification, and that leads to attachment. So here, one of the main important topics that we come across is ahambhava. Now, we have heard of two different things. One is ahankara, then it is ahambhava. Now, ahankara is a immediate faculty. It is accessories. The buddhi, when there is so much of information, it needs to start to segregate it. So that leads to ahankara. Ahankara, that this is separate, this is identical. That quality of being able to distinguish between everything, that comes about. Here it is good. That is, ahankara can also be used for positive things also. Because discrimination obviously leads to something positive also. It is not, we are not talking about discrimination as social discrimination. We are talking about discrimination as the ability to discriminate, to be able to say something whether this is whether two things are same or different. Why are they different? What is that quality that is innate to each of them, etc. So this is called as ahankara, and that is good. It is a natural faculty, because once we have information, what we do is we start sorting out the information. For that, this is important. But ahambhava is not ahankara. Ahambhava is it's very specific to human mind, which starts to get associated with the karmas to an extent where it starts to feel that the expected results are within the control. That is, I did something. Let us say I did some work and I'm getting paid for that work. So what my mind is going to conceive is that I am able to complete a work. I, as in the physical self, and there is no other intervention or any other force that is helping me towards it. So that is the positive, no, the psychological equivalent of an ego. So that ahambhava is what we are trying to understand here. So ahambhava is nothing but it is a state. It is not a faculty. That is the difference. Ahankara is a faculty. As when we are seeing that instruments that is coming out, we have this instrument of a body, and that generation of that krama that comes about, that process, in that it is an important part. Like if I say research methodology, first we have the we collect the data. When we take market research, first we have to take the data, collect the data. After we collect the data, we have to sort the data. After we sort the data, then we have to organize that data. After we organize that data, we have to use tools. We have to select a sample size, find out which is the best data, and then we have to start analyzing that data, then bring out an inference. So there is a process. Ahankara is an important process. So therefore, it is automatically the immediate step after we collect the data. For that, for sorting out the data, we need to analyze, okay, these two are similar, these two are not. This can be grouped together. It is abstract, but it is naturally an evolutionary step. It cannot be avoided. But ahambhava is the development of a mind. That is, it is a state of mind. So the mind starts to behave in a certain manner because of attachment to the karma phalas and the association with the physical body. So it is like that I amness, that state of being, that oh, I can do this, I can do that. That is aham bhava. So it is ego sense. And the separation, while we are distinguishing, yes, I can say among all the humans, I am unique. But to think that nobody else is unique, that is aham bhava. Yes, I am unique, but everybody else is unique. So how am I unique? So this concept needs to be understood like that. So thinking good about yourself does not give rise to aham bhava. Thinking bad about or inferior about others, thinking superior of yourself, then that gives rise to aham bhava. Appreciating good virtues does not give rise to aham bhava. So when I say, oh, I'm good at something, that is me appreciating my work, my talents. That is not aham bhava. But to say that I am better than everybody else is definitely aham bhava. So this is a very if you understand it in a as the concept, we are able to distinguish it better. So we are going in detail about aham bhava. So here, in spiritual context, the ahambhava is a limitation. That is, it is the avaraka shakti, something that gives rise to ignorance, or not gives rise to ignorance, something that leads to ignorance. Because we already discussed that ignorance has no um, origin, anadi it is. So here, but this is the barrier. This is that veil that we say avaraka shakti. This is what gives that avaraka shakti to ignorance, ajnana. So it starts to hide the truth, or it starts to misinterpret the truth. Some work has happened without understanding that it was a teamwork or anything like that. I'm just claiming the credit for it. That is giving rise to aham bhava. So it is misrepresentation of facts, or not even considering the facts for that example. The team, I'm not considered the efforts of the team. So like that. So in spiritual sense, it is extremely important to get rid of this aham bhava. But there can be two types of aham bhava. Sthula aham bhava, sukshma aham bhava. Stula Bhava is where we are simply associating ourselves with the physical body and existence. That physical and the sense organs. So whatever we have perceived through that, that itself we are getting attached to. So that is Aham Bhava. So here it has a very physical Aham Bhava seems to be more predominant, but isn't actually. But it is a part of routine nature. Like for example, when my faculties, that is when my, let's say, the sense organs, my nose, let us say it is capturing some aroma. So I'm smelling something good. To believe that that itself is something that I like, or I can only sustain with that, that is giving rise to a falsehood. That can be a hambhava, a stula hambhava, because we are as attaching ourselves to some stimulus that we have gained through the sensory perceptions. Vanity with respect to how we look. Um, Physical, staying healthy is one thing, but to an extent where we torture ourselves, that that is aham bhava. Again, it gives rise to vanity. And uh, you know, focusing only on physical appearance. It can be with respect to body, or it can be with respect to how we uh, dress, aesthetic appearance. So that also is physical ahambhava. That is, it is stula ahambhava. Then there is sukshma ahambhava, where intellectual and mind, intellect and mind starts to interact, and we get associated with it. Like for example, attitude wise, where people we look down, condescension we say, no, we look down on others. That is intellectual ahambhava. That is basically sukshma ahambhava. So ahambhava is a state of mind, but that mind, it gets triggered due to either a physical interaction or a mental evolution. So once I get associated to or attached to something that is that I've received through external stimulus, that one part is stula hambhava. After some action, when I start using my intellect and then create an attachment to that creation of mind, that becomes sukshma ahambhava. So these are the two kinds. So this ahambhava is something that we need to eliminate as much as possible, refrain from it, and also make sure that we reduce it. That is the reason we have kritagnata bhava, one way to, force it to come down. So we will look at this in one more session. With this, we've closed the two types of ahambhavas that we learned, stula and sukshma. Astu. स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः प्रतिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महीमहीषा गोब्राह्मणेभ्यो शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि।